Mabuhay, Kamustika. Welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Are you ready for this tonight? We're going to talk about love dolls, a very unusual topic, but I think it is certainly relevant for the world today, and it's occurring even more often. Now, in the description box after this is all done, I will put a short video that I also put in the promo because it shows what we're really going to be talking about tonight, what I have in mind. Hi, Phil Phoenix. Good to see you again. But also, in case somebody missed that, I have it here in the live chat comments. I have a link there in that video. I don't know how long it is. It will only take a few minutes before you realize what you need to know about it. So, B-Rad, James Kelly, PV, good to see you too. So that link is there anytime if you need to click on it and break away and see what we're talking about. That is what we will be talking about. So it's a little bit outside the box for me. I'm still going to be talking about relationships with Filipinas because that's very important. But there are some people that apparently have given up on relationships altogether. And so they've turned to something else called sex dolls or love dolls. And as you can see in that video, it's very serious. At least it is to me. So that's the way I'm going to approach it here tonight. Rodney, you're going to see most of the live chat. Are you at work today? Or no, I think that's on Saturday nights or Sunday nights. You were working when I saw you on Tom and Ruth chat. So live stream. So we'll get started here. We're going to be talking about love dolls. Are love dolls capable of meeting real needs? I'm going to have a statement here from my mystery source named Mystery, and along with his comments and his opinions, certainly anybody is welcome to jump in here and let me know what they think, and I'll be doing the same thing. Recently, I saw a video of a man who was with what he calls a relationship with what he termed or is termed a love doll. And I have it linked there at the top here where it says Love Beyond the Sea, and it'll be in the description box later if you haven't seen it. And also an ABC News video that's longer. It's about love dolls with artificial intelligence and goes more, I guess, into the manufacturing process and what their so-called capabilities are. So after watching that first video, I immediately I immediately realized how this pertained to my channel called Love Beyond the Sea. And I want to talk about different aspects of this phenomenon called love dolls. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea to learn how to have a real relationship with a real woman from the Philippines. Of course, the things I talk about can be applied to any woman, especially overseas. Comments to this video on love dolls are welcome, so be thinking about what you want to say, and please remember to get notifications for upcoming videos. Certainly, I would like it. Anybody can share this video as well. I am familiar with the MGTOW movement because that's men going their own way, because it also relates to my channel, because I think marriage is far better than going your own way and essentially being alone. In watching some MGTOW videos, I learned a few years ago that these love dolls were more than, just a thing. They really were going to be produced. And initially, I thought to myself, well, I suppose there will be some guys purchasing these for sex, but come on, you can't really be serious. According to many videos on the internet, it has arrived. I must take this seriously because as much as I don't want to believe any of this is true, I kind of can see why it is. And so hopefully we can bring that out tonight. It looks like its utility goes beyond sex. Some use them for company and companionship, kind of. Representing MGTOW. Hi, J Bud 5000. I guess I'll try to not be offensive or anything today because, like I said, I do understand some things about MGTOW men going their own way, why they're doing it, kind of the state of mind they're in. There's different levels of that. And one of the, I don't know what level you have to get to take on to be involved with love dolls, but that's part of it. And so, Jay Budd, you're representing MGTOW. My mystery source is a former MGTOW, so that might be interesting to listen to. I can't tell if guys that buy these things have completely given up or have completely unrealistic expectations of relationships or just what it is, but I can see why there would be a market for this. And while I do find it a bit fascinating, that's all it is. It isn't real and it can't be. I reached out to my anonymous source, Mr. E, to see if he would give a statement in regards to what he thought of this love doll phenomenon. Mr. E is well versed in many things. I don't know the man because he's too secretive and anonymous. Now, at first, he didn't think I was serious and was joking about this topic. But after I explained that I was serious and it was a serious topic, Mr. E decided to give me a statement. And this is what he had to say. And I'm really honest here when I tell you that Mr. E and myself are not the same person. He doesn't pull any punches here. Here is Mr. E's statement on love dolls. Again, you can give me your opinion too throughout this program tonight. He says, many men praise and say that love dolls will be the salvation they have been waiting for to get real companionship that they feel many modern women do not provide. They are under the false belief that love dolls will help cure that deep sense of loneliness that is in their hearts. He says, while I am very sympathetic to these men, as I know myself that the return on investment with current American women isn't worth it. Loving an inanimate object will not cure their loneliness. If anything, he says, it will make them lonelier. While it may sound great that having a robot that does what you tell it to do, never talks back, always does the same things you like sexually, he says, I believe in reality, once the honeymoon period and shine wears off that newly bought love doll, many men will revert to their baseline of loneliness as they will grow bored of their new toy and will just be another hole to stick their private into. Now, Mr. E, I'll continue, but I just want to say he is a converted MGTOW and red pillar, by the way. He continues, in fact, I can guarantee this is what will happen as it is happening today with men who have mastered picking up women. After woman number 25, things become boring. It no longer provides that adrenaline rush that was provided the first few times trying to get that hot girl you always wanted and bedding her. For these men, there is nothing left to conquer. The dragon has been vanquished. For these men, love dolls already exist, and they lament on their forums right now about trying to find peace in their lives and that they want to find what is missing in their lives, that they crave that companionship that comes with a long-term relationship. What is missing in the equation for many of these men is the sense of conquest conflict that is an integral part of the relationship. There is no longer something to conquer or overcome. He says, ever heard the old saying, nobody likes a yes man. What love dolls will do is provide an outlet and allow the bottom 80% of men to become alphas and get to feel and do what the upper 20% of men do today. My point is we can already see how this story will play out with 80% of men and their craving for companionship and belonging. In other words, it's not going to be a happy ending. Why do MGTOWs, incels, and others feel love dolls will be any different? He says, to me, it will be just like porn and used to get that quick fix. Love dolls will be just upgraded porn. The same dilemma of companionship and the loneliness that persists today in modern Western men will still be there, only it will just have a nice glossy paint job, skin made of silicone. He goes on, I am sure many men will disagree with my statements, but time will tell if my statements will come to pass. He says, "It is my belief that for the men to find true satisfaction, they must take the brown pill." We talked about that a couple of videos ago. That means finding a wife in another part of the world. He says, MGTOWs will claim a wall, all women are like that, and claim that women overseas will just be the same as domestic women. He says, is this really true? How can they claim that? I ask these people, have you ever met every woman on earth? While game and the red pill can teach us a lot about women's motives and actions, it still cannot be substituted for cultural differences in that some societies today are still traditional and women still believe in submission to God and to their husband as long as the husband provides. From Eastern Europe to Africa and east to the Philippines, quality women can still be found that will respect their husbands as that was taught by their fathers and mothers. That is why it is important for men to screen for quality women from good families. These women are still out there. They may not be lookers, but to me, I would be happy with a 6 or 7 or 8 with good values and comes from a loving family rather than a 9, 10 who comes from a broken family that hasn't been taught how to function properly in a family environment. And then he closes with this statement. So before you shell out that couple thousand for a brand new love doll, heed my advice, beware of false prophets, as the salvation that you think lies in love dolls will only be fleeting, and you will be back to square one after a while once that new paint wears off. Instead, perhaps it would be a logical, holistic idea to take the brown pill. That way, maybe, just maybe, that Filipino overseas might feel that loneliness you have been feeling your entire life. That is how Mr. E responded when I said I wanted to do a video on this topic. There's a lot to absorb there. I look so red here on this camera. I don't know why. Everything looks a little darker here tonight. And now I'm going to talk to you about the benefits that people that are selling these love dolls will use to try to close the deal. Can't say I can't disagree with any of Mr. E's statements. Be rad. Well, I'm going to be careful not to put anything on here that goes contrary to what I believe. He hits hard. Mr. E is former MGTOW, and I like to say he had MGTOW reversal surgery done because now he is back to his old self and going to continue to try something else. Michael, John 14:6. You just missed Mr. E's statement, and I think that's what I will put in the description box along with those couple of links. Only have 5,000 characters, so I'm going to put that in there. Those who believe or sell these products, love dolls, will tell you that there are benefits, of course. Here are some that I got from the internet, followed by my response. And go ahead and jump in here if you hear something that is especially striking to you. I'm taking this serious. If you watch that video I have there up the top, and just any of the others, it's all over the place, it seems. One selling point they had. Okay, great. Thank you, Michael, John 14:6. One benefit they say is that the love doll will be submissive, faithful, and committed. Submissive, faithful, and committed. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Now, this is me now, not Mr. E, but we must remember this quote unquote relationship is a fantasy after all. That means it's not real. That means that any perceived benefits are subject to come tumbling down. I realize we want our wives to be submissive, and I think if the husband is totally loving and devoted to his wife, that this is the best way for a marriage to work. The fact is, though, that submission is not easy for a wife for reasons that have to do with her husband and for reasons that have to do with her. A woman doesn't have to be 100% always submissive to her husband to be considered a submissive wife. Leading a wife in a way that she wants to be submissive to her husband requires skill, finesse, forgiveness, wisdom, sacrificial love for her. Now, these love dolls, no matter how many someone might own, are not really being submissive. as the advertisers would say, because they just don't have a choice. My wife had a choice whether or not to accept my marriage proposal. A love doll, didn't have that choice when she was ordered from the factory. A real wife chooses you by her own will. She even knows that you're not manufactured, and as such, is not going to be perfect and will, drive her crazy once in a while. Yet she chooses her husband anyway, flaws and all, and that's a nice feeling. I don't need a love doll to have a faithful partner either. I have been married coming up on 4 years, May 10th. And my thought is that if I treat my wife the way a real woman is to be treated by a real man, she's going to remain faithful to me. That's what I try to do. You see, if I don't treat her the right way, she will notice and react. Unlike these love dolls who are faithful by default, they don't have a choice. Mr. E said this: due to their design as they are programmed this way, it is no different than a pet rock or a flashlight, as we are trying to humanize a lifeless object. Sure, they will make all of the right sounds and may be able to somewhat fake emotions in the future. He's right, but it is an illusion. As a man, you're lying to yourself. Is lying to yourself a healthy approach to your life and well-being? Now, I agree with him. As a married man, I have to do everything I can to earn the right for my wife to be faithful, to earn her respect and trust, to be submissive and faithful. That sounds like hard work, but it is all part of building a real relationship with the real woman. My wife chooses to be committed to me, and I believe her commitment is real. I was talking about this topic with a guy at work, a coworker tonight, and he was talking about how it's similar with some women, even older women with babies. They're looking for something from a child, and they will have dolls that are babies, and even go walk around or take them around and care for them, kind of similar to the guy in the video there that I have linked right up on top. Now you'd say, well, that's just ridiculous. What's wrong with her? But is there anything much different than a man and a love doll? I mean, that child that she thinks is I guess the recipient of her love and her time and her effort and her energy doesn't know anything whatsoever. All of the hard parts of a relationship with a woman are avoided with a love doll, and same thing with any woman that would have an attachment to a baby doll in her old age. There's no dirty diapers, no crying, no expense, and so on. So yet they're looking for something that's positive while avoiding the negative. So I told him I appreciated that comment, and because it is kind of true. You'd say, wow, that's weird. What are they doing there? Rodney Bishop, a real relationship causes both parties to grow and mature and to become better. Excellent. A love doll would never cause me or anyone to grow and become a better person. Thank you, Rodney, and some of the growth comes from the negative things, the arguments, the differences in opinion, having bad days. We all have our weaknesses, and they're just going to have to be dealt with throughout our lives. It's nothing that should keep people away from a real relationship. Those who have taken the red pill, even gotten into the black pill thinking, they're really probably more apt to go involve themselves with a love doll. I mean, when I hear them talk on message boards, they do give me the impression, that they're serious. And with the market that is out there right now for them, I would have to say they are serious. But yeah, both parties to grow. And absolutely, it may take time. It will take time. And there will be plenty of strife and conflict, but that's often where the growth comes from. And yeah, B Rad, Rodney nailed that one. Uh, PT, hi PT. I think it may be your first time here on a live stream. Can I ask some advice? My girlfriend, while I'm asleep, sits on top of my head and okay, farts in your face. That's not good. I think a love doll would be better than that. Um, well, I can tell you, with your not so serious question, that I would, I would get rid of her. There are some deal breakers in life, and I would say that would be a deal breaker. Jay Bud, my condolences to Mr. E for going back to being a blue pill. I don't know if he was a blue piller. It's like when a recovering alcoholic starts drinking again. Poor guy. Now we have Jay Bud is a MGTOW. I don't know if he's a staunch MGTOW. He may be B-Red, um, James Kelly, PV. You agree with Mr. E's statements. Mr. E, I think he's seen a different light now, and well, time will tell. But I think he feels on a healthier track. Um, and hopefully in the future he will tell us more about that. I don't hear a lot about that. People going from MGTOW back to normal. It probably does happen because I do think for MGTOWs, you get to a point of diminishing returns. I would think. Although Jay Bud, I don't know if you've ever reached a point of diminishing returns. You may be a fairly new MGTOW, so that may factor into it. Rodney also requesting her respect. Um, I must step up and be better to be worthy of her trust and respect. Yeah, I did a video on that, Rodney, how to earn the respect of your Filipina. Your Filipina should respect the position that you have as her husband. When you're married, she should respect the position, just like you should respect the position of the government, your supervisor, police. Um, but they may act in a way that you don't respect them personally. So it does have to be earned, and that's not going to happen with a love doll. No, no one is suggesting. Well, guys that are MGTOWs are suggesting that it would be better, actually, for some of these reasons here that the manufacturers say that love dolls are a better option. I mean, they've already said they're submissive, faithful, committed, and as you'll see, there's more reasons. So yeah, there are people suggesting this, and uh, I haven't heard myself, since it isn't really my thing, of how people are getting along in their experiences. But that one video, uh, says a lot. PT is a troll. I don't know who PT is, Benoit, but and I don't know anything about this blocking capability. But if somebody can click on something and block PT, I would appreciate that. I've never had to, not during the live stream. Where are the hammers? The hammers or the wrenches? I don't know, Michael. Love dolls, J Bud, love dolls have been around for years. Technology has made love dolls more functional and attractive to a lot of guys. Yeah, the old blow up doll is a thing of the past, kind of like 8 tracks. They are more advanced. I think that the second video, it's not linked here, but I'll link it when I'm done. I think it's an ABC News video with Carrie Couric investigating this, and you see how embarrassed she is in that video. Yeah, I mean, is all this realism a good thing? No matter how real they make these things look, sound, feel, talk, whatever, it just is not the case. B-Rad, James Kelly, PV. Have you visited the MGTOW subreddit, J Bud? They suggest it. I don't even know what a subreddit is. Uh, uh, J Bud might, though. Very expensive. Well, they're very expensive. Maybe that money is better spent like I did. I don't know what I said, 8 to 10,000. If you're gonna take the brown pill, look for a wife overseas, Filipino like I did. It's probably what a love doll, but a wife like my wife can do many of the things here that the love dolls are purported to do. Only she can give back and be responsive. The best MGTOW channel is Sandman by far. And Benoit, I am familiar with Sandman. I've listened to a lot of his videos. Not so much, I guess, since I started this channel, or maybe last 6 months. But that's a movement. That's not a mirage. They have their feelings, their stances, their positions. They've been hurt, and they're getting to the point that they just they think women aren't worth it. Feminism has kind of ruined it. Easy divorce has ruined it, and yeah, that's a tragic, terrible thing. There's no question about it. Um, However, I mean, I had not gone through divorce personally, and trust me, I mean, my parents did. I know divorce has debilitating effects, but I was alone for 30 years. I didn't want to quit, but I didn't know how I was going to get married either. It was tough. It was tough going on. But yeah, I agree with you on that. Uh, it's Reddit. I don't know what Reddit is really. Life Philippines as I see it. Hi Wayne, a big hello to you to me from Quezon City, Philippines. That's where you live. Hope you and your family doing well and good, sir. Thank you, Wayne, and the same to you. Hope you and your wife and your mother there in Philippines are doing well. I think my mother would not be able to stand the heat out there, although we have asked her if she wants to go there. Where are you at? Are we talking about me? I'm here in Nebraska, United States. Throw a dart in the middle of the country, and there I am. Ground Zero 69, welcome. Of course, a love doll won't replace a real woman. Ask yourself, what is a love doll really? From a MGTOW standpoint, I think it's only a form of masturbation. Yeah, I mean, I had that thought myself. So you said it before I did. It's not real. At the end of the day, it's not real, and you know there's usually a big feeling of loneliness when you've been fantasizing, and it feels good for a while. Come back down to earth, and it's like, well, a few hours later, everything's back to normal, and life sucks, and you're craving something, probably a relationship, craving meaning in life. I had the thought today, well, in some ways, Love Doll is like, sleeping with a corpse because the corpse is dead too. The corpse is unresponsive. The corpse can't do anything. The corpse can't feel anything. The corpse doesn't care. The corpse can't respond. I know it's a little graphic, but, it's still not alive either. Prostitution, pornography, love dolls, becoming a sex pet, all are roads some guys take to avoid relationships, but many men in relationships also partake in these activities. JBud 5000, and that's true. There are married men that somehow are able to use these love dolls, and I mean that just goes to show: is there any end to what we call it silliness, but it's more serious than that. A guy can't get something he needs from his wife. Apparently, he thinks it's okay to get that from a love doll. Ground zero. If a man thinks it's a relationship, then they're mistaken. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the selling point anyway. As I'll get into these here, and I appreciate the comments, and you'll see what I mean. I mean, in a way, it's a relationship, but I mean, shouldn't a relationship? I mean, talking to yourself, that's not a relationship either. But yeah, I wish Benoit. We don't want bad language here. And on the top of my head, it's called hair. Thank you very much. No, it's not a toupee. A toupee, is that what they call that thing? No, my wife has cut this, and you don't do that. Rodney, I did see a little of MGTOW. It did not appeal to me. He says, I think I can understand some of what they're saying, but looking and finding real love is more rewarding. And when you've lost a few times, I guess you develop a losing mentality, and you can't get back up off the mat and fight again. You know. Yeah, I know, Michael. Maybe when we're done, I can ask you or Tom how that thing works. I've never needed them before, to hit anybody over the head with, but we'll have to do that. Yeah, that's my wife's favorite colors. It's called mint green, by the way, Ben. I think you're confusing that with lime green, and I don't think we have any lime green here. Yeah, uh, Ben is the one that needs the hammer. Yeah, no, Michael's right. Now, we're talking about love dolls. One benefit, no STDs. That's what they'll say, no STDs. Okay, well, sure, that's not going to happen with a love doll, of course. And I shouldn't really call it a love doll because, love has nothing to do with it. However, I don't have to worry about STDs. I'm married, you know. A man might not get an STD from a love doll, but he is accomplishing anything from completely wasting his time to becoming completely delusional. Yeah, just we'll just let Benoit type until his fingers hurt. Maybe that'll actually be a good thing for this chat anyway. He must be a MGTOW. Now, Ben, if you are a MGTOW, I would appreciate like a JBud 5000 that you would actually use your mind and give some kind of supporting um, evidence or theory or thinking, because right now you sound like a child and an impetulant child. Now JBud is a very intelligent guy. He's a MGTOW. I'm not a MGTOW, but he knows how to make his points. He also can see things from the other side, and I think if I could, I would get rid of you here and let JBud talk some sense anyway. The way he sees it. Also, here's a benefit: no children. I say, what a terrible thing if someone actually became a father. With these so-called love dolls, that can't happen. Heaven forbid a man actually create another human being for a woman and the two of them shape their life. Not to mention grow together or grow better together. Being, yeah, and it also saves money, but selfishness has a way of doing that. Being married and having children is certainly a more rigorous life in some ways, but I believe it's the best life, MGTOWs notwithstanding, and all the hard work ends up being worth it. You won't have child support with a love doll either. There just won't be any marital support either. In fact, there will be no support at all. Mr. E added this comment. While MGTOWs, since we're talking about MGTOWs, while MGTOWs will bring up the fact that artificial wombs will solve this problem, that misses the point. A child artificially born by a machine or even by surrogate today, like Sandman talks about, will feel something missing in their life as they have no blood connection to the DNA that their mother provided or gestational mother. How is this any different than what goes on today with our court system with children not knowing who their fathers are, growing up in single mother households? Are you willing to have your own flesh be some lab experiment and hope everything turns out okay for the child with that maternal bond? And that would just not be a very smart thing to do. Brock, I don't know. You'll have to. It's probably not that difficult. Did we bring out the trolls tonight? I should have had the bouncers check them at the entrance tonight. Love dolls are for pathetic men who can't get any. Well, yeah, it is a pathetic thing, and that's just want to kind of talk about why that is tonight. Phil's to Phoenix. Anyone who wishes to block Benoit to the left of his comments, which I can't see, are three dots. Click on them and you can block him from your feed. Now, I can't do that, but if anyone wants to block Benoit, go right ahead and do that. Anybody can. I'd like to talk seriously about this topic because I'm basically a serious person, and there's something we can learn from it. Really, the people that are involved with these things, and who knows, there may be somebody that watches this video later that is thinking about that. You know, there wouldn't be a market for it if there wasn't some people using that stuff. Now, here's another thing we kind of touched on earlier: no financial burden with these love dolls. No financial burden. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Having a real woman in your life that actually wants to be with you comes with the responsibility of having to provide for her. That actually is a very rewarding thing. You can save money with the illusion of intimacy with a love doll, or you can invest your strength and skills into a job and build a future with a real woman. I chose the latter. Is there a financial burden in marriage? Of course there is. You could lose your job. She could lose her job. You're gonna have to pull together and work through things and make your relationship work. Brock Davidson, my question is serious, not trolling at all, asking a good question. And as far as cleaning, well, I don't know. I'm sure it's like cleaning anything else. So that sounds like a troll question to me, but I don't know. Here's another thing: won't complain. Love dolls have points with people because over a real woman because they won't complain, and the real woman will. I'm married. My wife doesn't complain much. She does once in a while, but that's normal. There's no such thing as a marriage without some complaint from either sides. And some complaints aren't bad, actually. They can point to something that needs to be improved, like me and the way I act sometimes. None of my weaknesses would get exposed as easily if I was single. That's one way that having a real wife can help a man grow personally. And some people think it's the best way to grow personally. It certainly is a good one to be married. Wanting to do your own thing without answering to someone or wanting to be burdened by them is a demonic attitude. A person can't escape complaining in this world. Well, freaks are welcome here too. I just, it's just hard to filter them out when I have the show to do and I do not know how to block anybody. I don't want to end up taking this thing off the air by mistake either. What is this for? Oh, well, I guess I can try this. Let's see what happens. That kind of removes comments. Don't know if it got rid of all of them. No, just that one. And I have to keep moving. So yeah, click whatever button you guys need for Benoit. Treat him right and send him packing. Professional. Me? I don't know. I am married. I don't have a love doll. Don't need one. Now get this. Get this. Yeah, joys of learning new tech and tools. YouTube or Facebook can be so complicated. Yeah. I just don't know about that thing. If Benoit is gone, that's a good thing, and I appreciate anybody who happened to do that. I want to keep moving tonight, but I am serious, and I do hope that somewhere down the line somebody is going to learn something from this, and it's going to make sense. Relationships, let's face it, they're hard. I've been married now almost 4 years. I would say the first 2 years were more difficult than the last 2 years, but I expected that. And we only knew each other for 7 weeks and 5 days, and we were married from 9,800 miles away. And we were married. So we have had a lot of things to learn, a lot of adjustments that had to be made, and I wasn't afraid of doing that. And it may be that some people use these love dolls because they're afraid of intimacy, whether it's verbally or physically, and so they just stay alone. And I personally just don't see anything good with that unless you're the type of person that just simply does not need intimacy. You'll need people in your life, but they don't need that intimacy. A red pill, MGTOW, still dates and isn't hostile towards women. The MGTOW has given up on traditional relationships. Thanks, Jay Budd. I appreciate your words of reason here. You're the type of MGTOW that is welcome here because, you will educate people on how things really are. When I talk about MGTOW, I can't major in that because I'm not a MGTOW. But you're right. Some still date. A red pill MGTOW. There's all kinds of types and levels. Some still date, and they aren't hostile towards women. Some certainly are, though. However, Ground Zero 69, the subject is not open for debate as far as thinking a man would think a love doll is his girlfriend. I know if you see that video, only an insane or mentally handicapped man would think it is a real life partner. Well, Ground Zero, it may be that they know it's not a real life partner. I mean, they can't be that blind, but nonetheless, they find it appealing anyway. So it may be that they feel that some need is being met, like the guy in the video, and he knows it's not real. I'll bet, but nevertheless, he doesn't care because it meets a need he apparently feels he cannot get from another woman, and that's how he justifies doing that. Yeah, I'm sorry for that, Harvey. A friend of yours married a Filipina, divorced him the day she got her citizenship. That happens. It happens with other nationalities too. I always want to wish I could go back and find out from the guy where he went wrong. He obviously went wrong. There should be some things you can spot and avoid that, because it certainly doesn't happen all the time. I didn't have that happen to me, and we got engaged in 18 days, and we're doing well. Life in the Philippines, I see it. Hi, Wayne. Sex is supposed to be a beautiful thing made by God in heaven between a man and woman in confines of marriage, but it's become a dirty thing because there is no self-control in society. Yeah, it's kind of always been that way, but there's from the very beginning, it is a great thing. And it really seems like an insane topic, better sex. I'm gonna read this here. What somebody selling this to you would tell you to try to blind you. I mean, convince you that the love doll provides better sex. I don't know about some of these comments. Feel free to ban anybody you want to. So, better sex from a love doll. That's the claim that's being made. They actually, quote, deliver better sex. Really? For the love doll, in reality, sex is for the other person. That's just a biblical principle. It talks about rendering the due benevolence. You owe sex to each other. Yeah, it's a debt. You can call it that. That's what it is. I owe my wife, pleasure. She owes me pleasure. It's a two-way street, in other words, that you can't have that with a love doll. And yeah, sex is a natural desire from our Creator and a pleasure, as Wayne said, but it is a duty. We don't withhold, shouldn't withhold our bodies from our spouse because it doesn't belong to us. With a love doll, it's just me, me, me. This doll is for me because you're not doing anything for her, which is not the way it is when you're married. You can actually please somebody, and that love can be reciprocated. It just can't be with the love doll. And again, we talked about earlier, sex is supposed to be something that improves and strengthens a relationship. Can't do that with a love doll. Now, if a man was a real man, he would be pursuing a woman he believes he can give a better life to, and that includes sex. No one can improve on what God has designed as the best, and sex is a great thing. I hope YouTube doesn't, unnecessary flag me for this. It's just part of life. It can be corrupted with love dolls, or it can just be something that you come to expect in a marital relationship. So, sex is a great thing. I've always said that. I've always said it's everything that it's cracked up to be, but only in the right context, and that is marriage. Intimacy is a form of communication. You know, um, kind of like talking about this because it's important to me. Each husband knows what his wife wants and needs, and he knows he is better off, and the relationship is better off if he gives that to her. Can't do that with a love doll. Same thing for a wife. The more they communicate this way, the more the relationship is solidified and grows. And I'm sure I've turned many people off by saying sex is a wonderful thing. Believe me, when I say that, some people cringe as if, what, what is it supposed to be? I think it's a critical component of marriage. Actually, I've heard people say that sex is just a small part of marriage, one of many parts, and I completely disagree with that. As long as each husband and wife have the capability to please each other, they are to do so. And of course, nothing of that is going to happen with a love doll. So better sex, you might as well just save the money and masturbate, because the end result is the same. Jay Budd, isn't a man who doesn't have the heart to pursue a relationship heading towards marriage and dates women who also want to stay single, being honest, and leading a Filipina on? Isn't a man who doesn't have the heart to pursue a relationship heading toward marriage and dates women who also want to stay single, being honest, and leading a Filipina on? Just have to be honest, like Rike is very straightforward and honest. Rike, of course, Life Beyond the Sea, and he'll tell him, no, I'm not looking for anybody right now, and if I do, I want to take so long, a year or two, to figure it out. He doesn't want to rush into things, and he wants to be friends. And if that's all you want to be friends, then you need to tell them that you need to be honest. You never want to lead anyone on. If you're with somebody that wants to get married, and people tell me this, well, you're just friends, Bob. You don't have to go out with them and marry them. You're just friends. And I'm thinking, but I know this person wants to get married. I'm just leading them on if I go out with them. And I just think that's the case. I just still don't think people want to be friends for very long. I think people want something deeper than that. Of course, every marriage is going to start out with a friendship, even if it's really quick, like ours was. Rodney, as I hear this topic, I get to thinking that love dollar porn would really be self-worship and pleasure, and as I understand it, self-worship is an empty well. It is. Anything selfish, is an empty well. My wife is out working. She has her work to do. I know I'm doing a live stream right now. She has her work. We both work. I work like 6 days a week. She works more hours than I do. We've got our plans, saving for our future, which will be retiring in the Philippines, as soon as I can. Yeah, my wife isn't here. I try to do the live streams when she's not here, because when she's here, she likes me to spend time with her. So this just is a way of respecting her and trying to do this without, monopolizing her time. So it's not crazy, it deals with relationships in kind of a strange, sad way. But I wanted to talk about it anyway and see what people thought about that. J Bud, with all the lies and deception that goes on in the pursuit of romance, the MGTOW is the most honest guy in the room. MGTOWs have their strong opinions, and they're MGTOW for a reason. They've been wounded. They've seen other people get wounded. They think the deck is stacked against them, and I mean, if a guy's been hurt that much, uh, you know, damaged that much by bad relationships or whatever, I can see them being extremely hesitant. What I don't like, though, James, is when a MGTOW will start preaching to younger guys who have not been burned yet. Who knows if they will be burned? But when the younger generation gets taught, hey, be MGTOW like me, because that's where I think that's a bad thing. I'm not too good with math, ground 069. Big house. Yeah, I know. We have a big house, and hopefully I'll be there till I die. In fact, we'll be there later this year. So another benefit here of these love dolls, supposedly you can choose the shape and size and appearance. But so what? I did that with my wife. What's more, I was able to choose certain values that she had too. So, that was even better. Here's one I don't quite get. A love doll selling point. Restore hope in dating. The love doll could restore hope in a man to start dating again. I would say that might have some truth if a love doll wasn't a lifeless thing. Mr. E told me restoration of the sexual marketplace in the West will not be won by technology, only the womb and men regaining their pride and their balls. The future belongs to those who show up. Demography is king, but this is a topic for another day. Life in the Philippines as I see it. I enjoy this live stream, and your beautiful Vilma's asleep now, but she knows me, and I know her very well. Well, and that's the thing about marriage, Wayne. The longer you're married, the more you're committed to each other, the more you know about each other. People say, well, you got to date them for so long so you know everything about them. And I say, you're never going to know everything about them. You're just not going to. At some point, you have to pull the trigger and say, I'm going to marry this person. Take them the way they are. They're going to take me the way I am, and we're going to build our life together. You're not going to know everything about each other. You may never know everything about each other. That's MGTOW. Well, my wife doesn't even know what MGTOW is. I probably told her, and she probably doesn't remember. Hey, Bud Brown. Hello. Is that the real Bud Brown? Are you coming back to the Philippines this year? We've got several here that have been in the Philippines and are right now. We are going to be back later this year because my wife wants to have me experience Christmas. In fact, we're flying up there with another Philam couple as well. Hopefully we'll be sitting together. A lot of people are going to the Philippines this year for Christmas, I heard. Yeah, Bud Brown. Is this really Bud Brown? Because I don't know. Bud Brown's a big time vlogger in the Philippines. But with these things, technology, anybody can purport to be anybody else. So that I don't know. Try Vietnamese women. That's Rike is out in Vietnam. Beautiful women everywhere. I just think Asian women are beautiful. Bud Brown. I just wish I knew you were really Bud Brown because I don't know. There can be a lot of imposters here on this thing. And I doubt you are. I doubt Bud Brown even knows that I have a channel. Um, yeah, it's a difficult topic. Well, we take on difficult topics here once in a while, um, because it's out there. And, at least you'll know what Mr. E and myself and some of my viewers think about this. Um, it's progressed to the point that you can pick your own doll. In fact, uh, they have male love dolls too. How'd you like to be replaced? Uh, a woman replaces you with a male love doll. It goes both ways. Yeah, I don't think Bud does the live stream. I think he's too busy with his life. So yeah, and yeah, he it just doesn't sound like it would be Bud. Be nice if it was. How about so restore hope in dating? I don't get that at all. How about this? This is even weirder for a love doll. They will give you their all and completely submit to you. I believe that. I believe that the love doll will give you their all and completely submit to you because they have nothing to give, and they really can't submit at all. It's just however you want to control them. And so maybe in a guy's mind, she submits to him, but she can't give anything. She's not even alive. How about this? She'll never leave you. Spend the $5,000 or whatever on this love doll. She will never leave you. Then again, I don't think my wife will leave me either, and I don't want to give her any reason to. In the years we are together, we can experience many joys together and make many memories as we have. You can always leave the love doll, however, and embarrass yourself with a different model, pun intended. Although it is claimed the love doll makes good companionship, I've noticed they tend to be on the attractive side, and that can be found in marriage too, even if you are a lot older. Oh no, we're not sick, Bud Brown, or I should say Bud. Um, we're just talking. I'm just talking. It's my topic, and I guess maybe it's interesting why the trolls would come out on a topic like this. It may be that I'm stepping on their toes, and they like their love dolls, and maybe I'm making them feel bad. I don't know. Yeah, Phil's to Phoenix. That's not Bud Brown. I wish he was here, but he's not. Yeah. Well, yeah. How can a piece of plastic or silicone love anything? Well, it can't. I mean, it's so sad because it's just a total lie. What I can't believe is that some people fall for it. I know society is the way it is. It's hard to find a wife, but to result to something, to go to something like a love doll, it just boggles my mind. She is available anytime. Naturally, she is. This way you get to totally control her, which would never work in the real world with a real woman. They say no hormonal imbalances in a love doll. So that's a plus. Very true, of course. But I would expect that from plastic and silicone. In a real relationship, you have to be able to handle these things, apart just being human and being a woman. You could add that she will never get sick or have any needs, which sounds great, but then a guy would never be able to give of himself to help his wife in her times of need, which strengthens a real relationship and allows the man to grow and mature and the relationship to grow and mature. Here's another one I don't understand. Helps heal from a bad relationship. These points here get more harder to justify as we go on here. Um, Heal from a bad relationship. I don't know how this could be. Instead, try to learn from what went wrong in the bad relationship and become a better partner. Lowering oneself to make out to basically a mannequin isn't going to heal anything, and doesn't improve relationship skills. Here's another selling point. They say you control when she talks. Yes, control again. That seems to be a key component in these types of relationships. What a weak-minded person that can't handle a different opinion or idea from a woman. In a marriage, you can't stifle your wife's thoughts or feelings or opinions. You do have to try to understand her and be considerate of her. That's what a real man does with a real woman. We're probably going to set a record here tonight for comments, and a lot of them, will not be good comments. But as love dolls are a part of society, these comments from some people are part of society too. Blaming love dolls on MGTOW red pills kind of a stretch. Well, people that aren't, who knows what type of person goes with a love doll, but it's somebody that's given up on life or is fearful of being rejected, fearful of doing something wrong, fearful of making somebody unhappy, lacks confidence that they can have a real relationship. That's why I think that it says here, she will give, where was I? Oh, control, yeah. Well, we were talking about something here. You can program her to talk. Again, another way to manipulate and control, escape the realities of a real relationship. And that's what people are doing. Whether they're MGTOW without a love doll or they're, MGTOW with a love doll, they are avoiding the realities of a real relationship. Now, it can help prepare you for your next relationship with a real woman. Yeah, I doubt this very much, because if the benefits are so absolutely fantastic and wonderful with these love dolls, then a man would surely have no interest whatsoever in a real person. Help prepare you for your next relationship. That is bizarre. How about this one? I got this from a website though that's manufactures these. How about this? Somebody tells you she will fulfill all your ultimate fantasies. Well, how is that supposed to happen? The fantasies of a typical male are not likely to ever get fulfilled in a real relationship. Although someone can do that, more power to them. That's just the nature of fantasies. They are and never can be real. What about her fantasies? Oh yeah, she can't have them for you to meet. Now they do say, yeah, it's better than cheating on your wife, sir. If you want this love doll, better than cheating on your wife. If there is trouble in a relationship in the bedroom, that has to be worked out. In some cases, depending on the cause, it may not ever be able to. I don't think getting a love doll would then be a reasonable alternative to getting your needs met because of all the reasons I have listed so far. Where are we here now that we've decided that that is not the real Bud Brown? Went on a chat last week and everyone there was on SSI. What kind of chat was that? Yeah, it's cheaper. They don't have to buy dinner or things. Well, but so what? Makers of this product are definitely appealing to one's desire for control. Control has popped up a few times here in different ways. Desire for control can be so destructive in relationships. I do have a video called, what's it called? No Need to Control. There's no need to control your Filipina. And yeah, that's, if you have to try to control a woman, then you're obviously not able to influence her in a way to lead her where you think she needs to be. That's just like in sports, the coaches that bully and yell and scream and control are the ones that can't lead. They can't lead, so they have to bully. And there are guys that do that in relationships too. And often with the Filipina, for some reason, it's like, well, I see from a third world country, I'm some big shot. I can control her or whatever. And that's just, that's not going to end well. That's for sure. Peter Vandiver is in somewhere in Texas. The last I heard, I am familiar with Peter Vandiver because when I got married, I started finding out about these channels. Didn't know about trolls at the time, but he was one of the ones that I watched. Yeah, desire for control. I don't control my wife. I mean, I can influence her, and but that's control and influence are two different things. One is bad, and the other is appropriate. Yeah. Thanks, Life in the Philippines. You checked it out. No videos, no subscriber. The real Bud Brown has, I don't know, 20, 30,000 subscribers. So, yeah, that is very true, very suspicious. Um, One thing about a love doll or anything they try to make like a real woman, it will never have a soul. Well, there you go. It will never have a soul. It will never have feelings. It's kind of a mockery of the man that thinks this is a good thing, or the woman who has a love doll, or that's a man. They have that too. I just learned that today. A very strange world we live in. There are those here on this live stream tonight. They're married to Filipinas. Others are engaged to a Filipina, or trying to establish a relationship with a Filipina. Real woman, real troubles, real costs, and that's just part of the territory. See, apologies to the other guy there. She is easy to clean, but my wife is able to clean herself. Thank you very much. In fact, I like, cleaning her in the shower myself. She won't cost as much as a real wife. Yeah, so what? Might as well use all that you're saving to take your love doll out to dinner, since she doesn't have much of an appetite. That's how she keeps her fine figure. She doesn't have a lot of outfits she needs for work, and you'll never have to teach her how to drive either. She'll never need medical help. All this sounds good, but it doesn't matter anyway when you're wasting your life on her. I don't mind helping my wife or even her family. It's part of the deal when you marry like I did. Now, here's another bizarre one. They say that a sex doll is a lifelong partner. Sir, if you give me your money for this sex doll, you will be purchasing for yourself a lifelong partner. But that's interesting because, up above, one of the earlier points was, it can help prepare you for your next relationship with a real woman. It kind of sounds incongruous, lifelong partner, but maybe they're saying you can keep the love doll and get a real woman, but the real woman probably isn't, going to want you to keep the love doll. So no, lifelong partner, nah, not really. No more nagging. No more nagging. Love dolls don't nag, and that may be so. But what about the nagging feelings that what you're doing is disgraceful and guaranteed to end in more loneliness than before? So there is nagging involved. I gotta find out where we are here. Sexual part of ourselves belongs to our spouse and to no one else. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, to no one and nothing else. Yep. Wayne, Rodney is, Rodney knows, and Wayne's married to a Filipina. Now something here just got in the way. Yeah. Partner. An object cannot offer partnership. Only a person can do that. Amen. Well, but that's what they're saying, and people fall for this. It's a partner, even a lifelong partner. I mean, you may well wear out well before she does, which doesn't really, the way it is in the real world. You are her master. When it all comes down to it, sir, I want you to know that you are her master. So again, this is all about control, which runs counter to a real relationship. Has no place in marriage. Now, here's another goodie. She will give you confidence in sexual situations. She will give you confidence in sexual situations, and who doesn't want that? It might give a guy more confidence in sexual situations with other love dolls, but not with a real woman. It won't help in any way, shape, or form with a real woman. I mean, some of these are hard to even take seriously, but if you were getting an education in sales for these love dolls, this is part of your sales pitch. No confidence actually whatsoever it will give you. Now, we're running out of points here, but I wanted to show you how silly. Yeah, I know how silly some of these were. Uh, yeah, Wayne's been married, I think 4 or 5 years. Wayne, just like I have. Uh, Mick, what have you stumbled upon? Well, I'm glad you stumbled upon it. It's been an interesting night. I'm a serious guy talking about a serious topic tonight, which is love dolls. My channel, Love Beyond the Sea, has to do with relationships, foreigners and Filipinas. And there are some men who have taken themselves out of the running a race for a woman and I decided that a love doll would be a good thing and are willing to spend good money on it. There are people touting it as better than women. And, I just want to give my 2 cents here on my show and say, no, women with all their flaws are better than the most perfect love doll. Yeah, amen, Wayne. Rodney Bishop, that would be like getting confidence in driving from playing Mario Kart 64. Um, yeah, it's just weird, but nonetheless, for one reason or another, there are people, men and women, using these things. Now, I just can't wait to see later some of these messages held for review. Maybe I don't want to see them. Um, okay. Let's see. Let's see. She provides good companionship. I think we've already destroyed that one. There's no therapeutic use in a love doll. You can never lose with a love doll. I mean, she's never going to tell you that you disappointed her, that you weren't good in bed. All you have to do is program her to say whatever you want her to say. So you can avoid all the negative things that can happen in a real relationship, but the silicone and plastic can never replace the interactions of a man and a woman. I'm concerned when a man goes this route, he is at the end of his rope and will not be able to recover again to the real world. And so with a love doll, then you're seeing somebody kind of commit relational suicide. They don't know it, but it's like relational suicides. I don't think these love dolls are a good idea at all. What's next? What is the guy to do when he realizes his love doll provides no long-term satisfaction, even after buying different models with different hairstyles, different body types? Someone probably will discover some kind of virtual relationship that is seemingly better even than these love dolls. But same thing, any euphoria has to be short-lived because none of it is real. It is all in the man's mind and imagination. It seems like many men are giving up on a real relationship. I was alone for 30 years, didn't see a way I was going to get married, but through persistence and prayer, I got married about 4 years ago. At that time, I was already convinced marriage was a very beneficial thing. And after having been married for about 4 years now, it's even better than I imagined. I don't believe a love doll is ever going to be a viable option or a good thing for anyone besides the people that make these things and are taking advantage of vulnerable and hurt customers. I think it takes more than a vivid imagination to think that a love doll could in any way be superior to a marriage with all of the personal flaws and all. I personally don't need a love doll. I found real love beyond the sea, as some of the other people on here have as well. So, what is the tie between love dolls and love beyond the sea? Well, I want to help men find real relationships, and so I guess that this is my part in trying to help them avoid the false relationship. I shouldn't use relationship, and I shouldn't use the word love, and I shouldn't use the word companionship, because at the end of the day, it's just a doll, and that guy is still alone. Um, do love dolls help men? They must think it does something, but I think it's all an illusion. Can it be harmful? Yes, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, which gives a person a false sense of satisfaction, false sense of worth, I guess. You know, it's getting a fantasy woman. The woman looks better than he is able to get. That's fantasy. Her body will never change, but when you get married, one way or another, your wife's body will change. She may get some kind of illness or disease that you can avoid with a love doll, but for a real man with a real woman, that just is an opportunity for him to step up and take care of her. Women have differing opinions. You have to get used to. You can't sacrifice for a love doll. She doesn't care. You can't influence a love doll. People try to control them. I try to influence my wife. A great relationship, a real relationship takes work. A love doll can't be helped, can't protect her, can't provide her. For her, you can't relate to her. She can't help a man in any way whatsoever. Think of the kind of stimulating conversation you can have. Some guys would like it that way, but no real intimacy, no real acceptance, no real appreciation. I tell you what, my wife tells me often how much she appreciates me, and I appreciate that, and it makes all my efforts to love her worthwhile. Why did the man in the video care so much for his love doll? I didn't get the idea it was about sex. What needs did it fulfill? I'll have that linked in the description box, so it gives people an idea what I'm talking about here. It must have done something for him in his own mind. In a way, a love doll is just like taking mind altering drugs, because it doesn't do anything. So yeah, it's like a drug. But to me, this kind of shows how hard it is to be alone. It's getting darker here. Nobody wants to be alone, and well, for some reason or other, you guys give me your thoughts, before we close here. That this love doll is a thing, and I wanted to kind of raise that topic here. Maybe I'll be one of the first to say it's not worth your time, not worth your money. Somebody personally that is involved with the love dolls probably is going to be a while before they're healthy enough to get involved in a real relationship. Yeah, Chris, there's a lot of unfaithfulness, but it's not all Filipinas. I know 4 or 5 or 6 overall right here where I live. They're not dealing with any of this. I think a lot of it has to do with the choice that is made. I should say by the chooser that's making the choice. Uh, if you make a bad choice, well, that's it's like hiring a poor employee. The person that hired them is kind of responsible to make sure that doesn't happen. And all Filipinas are certainly not like that. Love dolls don't cheat, but what are they going to do? Cheat with another a male love doll? They have those out. That would be something. Yeah, some women in the Philippines are like that, like anywhere else, and some are good ones. You know, Sometimes I think people that like to bring up these the horror stories, they don't seem to have a very balanced view of all this because, yeah, there are horror stories everywhere. But what about the relationships that work out? Wouldn't it be better to try to learn from those successful relationships? Um, I my channel, I try to help people because I got married real quick. Certainly, we didn't know each other very well, of course not, and but it didn't matter to me because I my goal was to love her, and she promised she would be a good wife and make me forget about all those years alone, which she has, and I did something right, but other men have found Filipinas and other women from other countries, which I call taking the brown pill, and they're successful. And it depends on what you're looking for. I think a lot of the guys that are looking for sex are the ones that the Filipina will fool. I can't prove this, but I just feel that if the man is serious about a relationship, a real relationship, the Filipina that is a scammer is not likely to waste her time. She will sink her claws into the man who gives her the impression that that she can fleece him. And I don't know. A lot of men have not had that trouble. Rike is very. He's a very, I think, intelligent person. Um, he expresses himself well. He has a successful channel. Um, I haven't followed it now that he's been in Vietnam. I don't know if he's going to be able to have a relationship or even if he still wants one. But as the years go by, we kind of run out of time, and it makes it even more important um, as part of the brown pill philosophy because it's the fall or winter of a man's life. You get to a point when you realize you better start doing something, or you're going to be alone, or you're going to be with a love doll someday, and that's just not gonna work. Internet connection. All right, Chris, there's no reason to talk about Rike or anyone like that. I guess that's what happened to me. Um, this is just whatever this topic is that gets under people's skin or brings the trolls out. I don't know. I guess one of my points is that those of us that have real relationships, those of us that continue to look for one and didn't give up. Um, we didn't have to go MGTOW. We didn't have to take the red pill. We survived black pill thinking, and now we're happily married in real relationships with real struggles, real difficulties, and real needs. And I personally wouldn't want it any other way because that's the way two people are going to grow. Yeah, yeah. Rodney realized I wasn't getting any younger. I should not just give up, but find something else, try something else. Break new ground. Take the brown pill. Go look overseas before you totally give up and live a life alone, um, which is what I'm concerned about MGTOWs because I just don't see avoiding. Well, again, like Jay Bud says, some MGTOWs date without marrying, then they don't know that what it's like to have somebody commit to them. I committed to my wife, she committed to me. If we have problems, we got to work them out. We just have to. So thank you, gentlemen, one and all. The trolls, I hope you have learned something tonight, whether you contributed or not. and I have to still finish wrapping up this live stream. Now, next week's live stream, at this point, I can announce it early, although I'm not done working on it yet. Mr. E, my former MGTOW anonymous source, don't know where he is, but he likes to help my channel, and he's going to help me with things like sexual market value, marriage market value, that sort of thing. Game, it's going to be about, what is game? Do you have, enough game to pursue a Filipina? So that's kind of be in the vein that we'll be talking about next week. So, well, Chris, we're not going to be talking about love dolls. We'll be talking about, what does it take to pursue a Filipina? What part of game is important? um, and just how important is, SMV when trying to find a wife in the Philippines. I was not MGTOW. J Bud up the screen there is MGTOW. J Bud, is articulate, and he can articulate his thoughts, and I appreciate his contributions to my streams. The hit and run trolls, just there's nothing you can ultimately do about that. But no, I wasn't MGTOW. I suppose I could have been. I didn't know what MGTOW was. I just knew I was very disconsolate about ever being able to get married. I don't know why I didn't throw in the towel, except that I could not be single. I could not live without a woman. I wanted to be married. I saw no reason why I couldn't be married. And before completely throwing in the towel, it was suggested to me by my pastor, actually. Not that he knew anything about Philippines, but he said, he read an article about a guy about my age that found a wife in the Philippines. He said, it's up to you. I had never considered that before. I'm almost 10,000 miles. I wouldn't go 50 miles to date somebody because I thought that was too far, and I wanted to spend time with them. So the likelihood of finding somebody, 9,800 miles away and getting married in less than 8 weeks, wasn't something I thought would happen. But no, I didn't have to go to MGTOW. I didn't get to that point. I was extremely discouraged. I looked at, again, not all women are like that. There are good women that can make good wives in the United States. As it turned out, I was, I think, meant to marry a Filipina, like many others here that watch my channel, and I'm more than happy about that. Yeah, TFL, Chris, that's right. True forced loneliness, right? But you can just kind of what's the term? Just lie in your misery and end up becoming MGTOW. You're lonely. You don't want to be lonely. You feel like you're. Here's the thing. I call it. You call it celibate by choice. True forced loneliness. Involuntarily celibate means the same thing, I suppose. Basically, that was for a long time. Now, 4 years I've been married, and I haven't given one thought to being single in those 4 years, unless I drove by somewhere I used to live or whatever. And new life, new hairstyle. It's all real, by the way. New clothes, thanks to my wife. She's I've had to make some changes for her, but that's worth it. Yeah, you don't need game to get a Filipina. We're going to talk about that next week, Chris. You might need game in America, but I think the game that you need to find a Filipina and to attract a Filipina is based on different variables. In fact, I plan on disclosing some of my metrics where I would fall with domestic women here in America, and I'll show you my scores, and how the same scores, because of what comprises them, work out completely differently with a Filipina. So I would agree with your comment. Thank you, Wayne. Life in the Philippines as I see it. I will try to take care and be safe. Like I always tell my wife, drive carefully. You have a wonderful day too. God bless and peace. And thanks to Mr. Mystery, my secret source, wherever he is. You'll be hearing more from Mr. E in the future. Hope you enjoyed this, although sometimes bizarre live stream on love dolls. Um, so I would encourage people to keep looking for a real relationship. And if you're not interested in a real relationship, to try to understand why that might be. And we can't get into that tonight, but with that, I will see you all in all likelihood next Monday, which is like what, April 15th, same time, same station, 6 p.m. We'll talk about game, sexual market value, marriage market value, and what it takes to court a Filipina. Until then, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea.